Hi there. Are you one of those people that last year you managed to start some really good habits and you've been sticking to them? But it turns out that as you've got a little bit further into them, you're just not seeing the progress that you were at the beginning and you're getting really frustrated with it. Now, I know that's happened to me and I want to talk you through a few ideas and a few tips of how we can actually push on and see even bigger results and more success this year. How can we go about this? So you may have heard about compounding. Now, and you probably heard about compounding when it comes to investing and that if you put money in over a long period of time, the interest goes up, blah, 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 and you end up with a £2 billion, which you've not been able to touch for 30 years because you want it to keep going up. And you know, you hear stories of Warren Buffett making $1 billion galactic dollars and so on. But did you know that actually you can also compound your good habits and you can see results much faster than Warren did? Now, in essence, compounding is a bit like a snowball at the top of the hill. You push it down and as it gathers speed, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and you see more results, more success and more benefits. So just saying compound your habits is easy, but how do you go about doing that? Well, one of the key things you really need to start with is consistency, and I understand that we bang on about consistency as if it's the easiest thing to find in the world, but I like to think about being more consistent by removing some barriers and overcoming some challenges that get in our way in our everyday life. So for me, certainly, I'm trying to lower my cholesterol and I'm trying to take these plant-based stenol drinks and so on. And I was finding that I was missing it, 3 out of every 4 days. And it's a habit that I really need to, embrace. So I thought, why aren't I doing this? And it just came about that I was just forgetting, which is a bit daft. And I made one simple change that has meant that I've now not missed a single day for the entire year so far. And that was just moving the stenol drink next to the milk. Because I'm going to make tea, I'm going to make coffee, I've cut out a barrier, it's there, I can see it, no problems. Now, hopefully everyone out there, you don't have to worry about cholesterol, but you've got other habits that you want to improve on, like exercise and remembering to exercise and being more consistent with it. So how about putting some trainers near your front door? You've got to go in and out of the house, you're going to see them, it's going to put that in your mind that you've got to exercise. Or if you really want to pick up on reading this year, put your book next to your remote control downstairs, put it on your bedside table, put it somewhere that's easy to get to and highly accessible, because hopefully instead of picking up that remote control, you'll pick up your book, and that way you can be more consistent with your habits. You've got rid of a couple of barriers because it's easy to do. But then how can we make, consistency and sticking and improving on our good habits more interesting? Well, people talk about gamifying them, and what does that really mean? Well, it's about trying to make your habit more interesting. It's trying to make it more enjoyable, as if you're playing a game rather than it just being something you're doing for a good purpose, which we all know we should, but sometimes it sneaks into our head that it's much easier to eat pizza and watch TV. But how can you gamify? Well, think about setting yourself up with a scoreboard. You can give yourself different scores for different aspects. If it's around exercise, you can give yourself points for the amount of weight lost or the way that your clothes feel, or even just the effort you put into it. So maybe give yourself a score out of 5 for effort. And every time you come back from the gym and so on, you can top that up across the week and you can work out which weeks have been good, which weeks haven't been good. And you can even get to a point where you're trying to get a higher score this week than you did last week, just on, effort put in. Another way to do it is, can you involve your friends? Can you create a leaderboard so everyone is putting scores down? At this point, maybe, perceived effort put in isn't the best thing because that can be subjective. But you can put it on, miles run, kilometers swam, any kind of things like that, weight lost, etc. How can you make it more appealing? How can you make it more of a game? Now, another thought around this is, we need to see progress from our habits. And if you're not seeing regular progress, then you're probably going to be less likely to continue with it. So how are you going to track that? What progress tracker are you going to use? Are you going to use a simple calendar where in each of the boxes you just put in a few of the really high scoring metrics that you want to achieve? Or are you going to journal? Are you going to write down your progress, how you're feeling, how your habit is making you feel? You know, if it's around cooking, what are the new recipes you've learned? How many times have you managed to incorporate, you know, these soya beans into your diet and, you know, things like that. So how do you track your progress? How can you tell that you're doing well with your habits? Now, of course, not only do you need to track your progress, but you need to have a plan for how you're going to reflect on that as well. So is it going to be a case that, you know, once a week you're going to reflect on what you've done, or is actually that period of time too short and it's not going to give you a full picture of your progress? So you're going to do it at the end of each month, or you're going to do it at the end of each 3 months. You know, how are you going to see the big gains? Now, probably reflecting on how you feel and how you feel it's done in a more, you know, qualitative way at the end of each week is not a bad idea. And then you can have a more quantitative approach to, you know, the end of the month. So look at the real figures, understand that, yeah, you've lost 3 kilos this month, sorry, that you've actually managed to take 30 seconds off your personal best for the 5K, that you've read 3 books instead of the 2 books you were aiming for, and that actually you've managed to learn 3 or 4 new recipes this year. So it's about reflecting on the progress to understand how you're doing, to see how that makes you feel. So you're getting that positive reinforcement back that can really help you set your habit in stone. But sometimes also we need to think about what's the big picture. You know, where am I going with this? What do I want to achieve from this? And if it can be a little bit hazy and you're a little bit unsure, something that a lot of people have done, and something that I'm certainly going to be looking to do this year, is creating a vision board to understand where it is you want to be. And the timeline you put on your vision board, that's really up to you. Is it at the end of the year? Is it in 5 years? Is it in 10 years? You know, because maybe your vision board is financially based and it's around your savings and what you want to achieve. So you may be looking at a longer period of time because you might want that house at the end of the lake on your vision board. You may want to have the pictures of, you know, champagne and of partying and where you want to get to. Or if it's around exercise, do you want that picture of that, you know, your 6-pack abs and your toned physique and so on? And that could be on there as well. And, you know, depending on the time periods that you're working towards, you can base your vision board on that. And it's something that once you look at every day, you should use it as for inspiration to make you feel that, yeah, this is where I want to go, and to do that I'm going to follow my habit and I'm going to improve on my habit. So, in essence, you're compounding on it by doing it more regularly because you're inspired to do it. So one of the key things is really to keep building on your habits if you want to meet your potential, if you want to fulfill what's possible for you. Because if, you know, it gets to a point where it gets easy, you're running the 5K within 30 minutes, but you're not pushing on to get any better, you're going to stay at that plateau, that level playing field, and you're not actually going to get any faster. You may think, oh, I really want to be running in 20 minutes, but if you're not exercising regularly enough, if you're not pushing hard enough, it's unlikely that you're going to get there. So it's how can you fulfill your potential? How can you get there? But one of the really great things about compounding your habits is the other side effects that you might not see at first that you get, because it's going to increase your confidence. It's going to improve most likely your physical and your mental well-being, because you're going to feel better about what you've done. And even if your habit is around cooking different food, that's likely to improve your physical well-being as well, because you're getting that feedback mechanism from tracking your progress and from reflecting that's going to, you know, release those positive endorphins, and that's going to have a really positive effect on your physical health as well. And I think one of the things that often goes unnoticed as well is that if you're building on your habits and you're feeling really good about yourself because you're achieving goals, you're breaking down barriers, other people are going to notice that too, and they're going to be inspired by what you've managed to achieve, and they're going to want to know how you've done it, what they can do, how they can fulfill their good habits as well. So you're probably going to improve your relationships, you're probably going to increase the number of good relationships you have with people as well. So there are lots of real positive benefits from compounding on your habits. Now, I really hope this video has been helpful for you all, and I'd really appreciate it if you give me a like, and if you want more of content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe. Now, it may be that you've already got some really good habits, but you want to build on a few more, you want to add a few more into your day-to-day life, but you're really busy. Now, I've made a video recently about some small, really easy habits that you can add into your day really easily. It should be linked in the left-hand corner right now, so please do feel free to check that out. Now, All that leaves me to say is thank you very much for your time, everyone. Have a really positive day.